Morning, everybody. Welcome to another Slater session. And I'm with JP. Of course, I'm with JP because he's won another competition. JP, lovely to have you today. Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, we
Oh,
have a
technical
feedback.
issue.
Let's try to find where it's coming from. Oh yeah. Nah, everything's good.
Yeah, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I can see we've got Jarek James Munoz in the chat as well. And thanks for anyone that's turned up to watch this. I know that there's time zone issues. If you're in America, it's 8 a.m. If you're in Argentina like me, it's 9 a.m. So it's the start of your workday. So maybe that's not a good time either. So thank you for everyone that's joined. Jarek says, "Hey, thanks, Jarek. I assume that's a good thing." So JP, obviously, he's won the most recent Slater Challenge. I've just put his game in the chat, Arrow Hero, and it was pretty tight on the Judgment Day. Were you on the live stream watching that, JP?
Yeah, it was really tense. There was a lot
Oh,
of big
I bet you
games.
were wearing all your socks, all your Grallen merch.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, the judges obviously loved your game and voted it as the winner. But yeah, there was some really good entries into that challenge. So, who did you? Do you mind me asking who you thought was going to win?
Yeah, I
Do you
thought
have?
Jeff's Kraken game was really good. So I thought
Yeah,
that's the winner. Yeah.
yeah. No, his game was epic. It was very tight, and but I mean, your game. I think the thing that clinched it actually was linking it up to a dance mat. So if anyone's watching, is like, wait, what? JP actually had a game that was linked to an old school dance mat. Yeah, show us the mat.
Yeah.
Yes,
So weird.
throwback, throwback vibes, which was so cool. So I think that was what really tipped the scale in the end,
Yeah, I think so too.
because everyone was like, wait, what? This guy has gone up another level. So why don't we share your screen and maybe you could do a little demo of the game. Is that all right?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Let's do that.
Okay, so this is our hero. If you refresh it as a mini loader, then just added this with options and you can play it. Just hit play and oh, click the arrows. And what's great about this is it's inspired by a couple of games that we really like. One is Guitar Hero and the other is Auto Jam. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. And
Yeah, I haven't.
it's very, I'm not sure it's just an Asian game, but what's really good. It's like this, but with music. And yeah, the idea for this was I was thinking about what can I do in less than a week, and
Yeah.
that's fun to do that I can enjoy. So yeah, I thought of Guitar Hero with arrows. So I'll just make this game end, and it's gonna show you this screen and also a leaderboard. Yeah, so one for audience over here, it's Jerry. It's getting near my top score.
Jarek, that's why he's watching this live stream because he wants to know the secret sauce to get higher. Awesome. And so, okay, we're going to dive into the code now. But if anyone wants to play the game in the chat, arrowhero.webflow.io. Cool. All right. I'm intrigued how you did the database because all of that information needs to go somewhere. And yeah, obviously how you started. Okay, I'll let you talk. Go.
Okay, so basically I started in Figma. Yeah, so I just kind of placed the games that I like. So one is Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. I played this on the Game Boy back then. And another is Tetris. And I got the color scheme from this game. So if you notice, the colors are very similar with
Mm.
our, and it's kind of like Simon says. So it's gonna see the arrow, then click the same. Then a bit of DDR, Dance Dance Revolution. Yeah, these are just a couple of ideas that didn't make it through. I was thinking of adding a dancing corgi in that corresponds to the button that you click, but that didn't really feel part of the game, so I didn't add that. Yeah. And
Mm.
the first part is how can I make the blocks appear on my project? So I did it, and I'll just hide this for now. Yes. Yeah, the website is kind of messy, but it's fine.
It works. It works really well.
Yeah, that's the main thing. That should work.
Yeah.
So just try to find it. And
Jarek says, "You did that in less than a week. Wow, that's insane, JP." Indeed, it is. Indeed, it is.
yeah, wait, just having a hard time. Oh, here it is. Think? Oh no, that's not it. Oh, it's this one. Yeah. So here is the blocks over here. So it kind of places four blocks hidden at the top. So they're placed at the top. And the main code here is gonna increase the top position of the block. So that's how they move down. You can see it's moving from top to bottom. So it's increasing the top position of the blocks.
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah, that
gonna
makes sense.
give a quick run through of the overall code. It's kind of long, but bear with me. So here are the DOM elements, basically the elements from Webflow. And here are some like values that I set. We're gonna talk about that later. Then class visualization, basically this is just a clock to animate the game properly. So, and a bit about listeners. So this listens for the inputs that the player does. So the click functionality. Also, it has the gamepad over here and some utility functions on helping the game logic work better or work right. Yeah. And here's the game logic. Okay. So it has few states. One is the loading state or the starting game, then the game state, then the game over state. So you can see the codes here are very chunk or very disjointed because I want it to be very organized. So if I want to edit something, I don't need to think how the game works. I just need to find that part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever part of the code is obviously corresponding to the game. Yeah.
So it is the main code of listening for the arrow keys or the WASD. So if you go here in the game and open the console log, you play it and hit the arrow keys, you can see which keys are pressed down.
Mm.
So I think one of the main things in developing a website, a game, or anything is using the console lab to help you build your project. Since it's kind of like the way of checking things or testing things with JavaScript. Yeah. The
Yeah.
good thing about with Slater is I can just simply edit it, edit the code by just testing with the console, seeing if it works, then I'm gonna edit it. So basically, I kind of skip publishing and workflow, and that's really made me build this in less than a week.
Yeah. It's a hell of a lot quicker because you don't need to save and publish every time. Yeah.
Yep. So this is the block generator. So it's what generates the block. So there's a randomized number here. So it counts how many blocks there are, and there's four. Just gonna randomize in which number is gonna show. So one for the first block, 2 for the second, and so on. And this is the block height. So it's gonna calculate the height of the block corresponding to the screen. Since I wanted this to be responsive to work in any devices like in desktop or in mobile, I made it in this calculation so that you can play it anywhere.
So, quick question about that. So, why didn't you do that in Webflow using REMs, or why didn't you determine that height change in inside Webflow rather than in Slater? Just out of interest.
So the height is in Webflow, so it's 20 VH. But the height corresponding to this is, oops, where is it? There. The height corresponding to this is the, since it's gonna be translated to pixels or percentage. So the percentage of the block will be determined depending on the screen height. So it kind of depends. So,
Okay, so you've actually set the viewport height in Webflow, and then in Slater, you're basically saying, okay, I want you to correspond with the viewport height and determine the block height as a result of that.
yeah, it's kind of it's kind of fail safe if something goes wrong with Webflow or somebody changes the code in the front end, it's not gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah, God, this is the thing with Slater. Obviously, you've got the code, away from the Webflow project, so it just means that you can kind of block that from the client, ideally.
Yeah.
But yeah, God, there's just so much in here that I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, sorry, carry on.
I'll just go back to the Figma file, and I think two of the lessons that I learned is it's okay not to know anything. So this is like the hill chart of Basecamp's work hill. So
Yeah,
there's like two parts of work. One is the unknown and the known. So figuring out what to do and getting it done. So I was really over here in the start, and I didn't really know what to do. I just had an idea. And what's great about this is with Slater, you can also learn stuff along the way. It's not just coding tools, also a learning tool to learn code. So yeah, it really helped me to get things, figure out what to do and get things done. Since once you know what to do, it's kind of really easy to get it done. Yeah. And another part is to slice the pizza, which is like taking out big parts of the project and making it to smaller bits of tasks. So that's what really helped me focus on the project. So if you notice, if you were following before the project was complete, the project didn't have this help dial. It had this one, the number 100 over 100, and I didn't feel like it's good for the UX to have two numbers on the screen, so I turned it to an help dial instead. So yeah, so you can also see on my Waffle project that I have different pages for different features of the project. So one is where I test the dance pad, another is where I tested the leaderboard, and another is where I tested the music. Yeah.
okay, wait. So, can we look back at the Figma for a second?
Okay, okay.
Because I think these two diagrams I think are really important. Because fundamentally, I think having the patience to be confused for a little bit and just be like, this is okay. I'm a little bit confused, but I'm going to work it out. I think that is the key to Slater. Like, Slater is not, because you're prompting and the prompts aren't always perfect. You do need to be a little bit patient in order to get the code that works for your project, I've found. So
Yeah,
I think just being comfortable with the uncomfortable and being like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm going to work it out, is like, such an important point to just highlight here, because I mean, look how many prompts you've done to get. That is insane.
Yeah, I think I hit the cap in the chat archive since it's kind of
Oh my god, look at that.
so definitely it's okay not to know everything or nothing at all since the internet is here to save you. Also with Slater, everything's a bit faster to learn.
Yeah. But I just think that's really important, because if people are looking at this a little bit intimidated, like me, I just think this diagram that you've put up, it's okay to wonder, is so vital, because it's like you need to muddle around, you need to ask stuff, work things out. And once you've got a clear idea of where you want to get to, that's where Slater is really helpful, because it's like, okay, once you've got, here's where I want to get to, Slater, then Slater can really, really help you. But from like a design perspective, and then you're trying to work out how that relates to your Webflow project, and then how your Webflow project relates to Slater, it's all a little bit like, just, you got to be kind of comfortable with the uncomfortable and a bit patient. And then can we have a little look at the slice the pizza one? Because I didn't quite understand that one. So we've got notify.
Yeah, I
So
think one
notify.
better is this one. So I kind of list all the things that I wanted to do, and each list I didn't put a sublist since I kind of did it in Slater. So each list you kind of chop it down to pieces instead of thinking this one big thing and just looking at it, not knowing what to do. Try to figure out what's the easiest step that you can do first. Then after that, it's gonna get easier and easier and easier. Yeah.
Right. So essentially, like, slice. If the whole game is a pizza, then you just want to slice up all the different little bits that you need to do in order to get that done. And
Yep.
I think also as well, it seems that what you did was like, okay, here's the game that I want to make. I want to have a dial at the bottom. I want to have numbers corresponding to the the score, etc. But you were like, there's little pieces. I'm going to tackle the easiest thing first, and then the code. Because looking at that Slater project with all the code, I think there may be people, write it in the chat if you're as intimidated as I am. I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh my God, that looks insanely complicated. But actually, when you break down, what each part of that code, what is that performing, it's not as scary. But I just think that's really important to highlight if people are looking at this like, I could never do that. Yes, you can. It's honestly, I'm an idiot and I'm using Slater, so trust me. I mean, JP's obviously way smarter than I am, but I'm just saying that you can also generate code and then manipulate that code by asking Slater for prompts and doing things bit by bit. I just wanted to highlight that.
Yeah, definitely. I just want to say that this code didn't look like this at the start. It was very, very messy. And it's okay to get messy as long as it works. And you can just modify it or refactor it or organize it later on.
Yeah, and I like how you've organized it though, because you've got above every single like code snippet, you've got instructions that is like, when you look back at the project, you can easily do that. Did you put those in, or did Slater put those in?
I kind of asked later to organize my project. Well, I had a few ideas to put all the variables at the top. So the variables are all these elements. Then next will be the game logic. And after that is the event listeners.
Yeah.
And yeah, but Slater did help me in organizing it more better. Kind of just gave it the prompt and it did it a bit better than I expected. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And so if we were to just rewind then, so you dove into Figma, you were in Figma, you were playing around with different ideas, and you were looking at colors, you were looking at different game ideas. Then from there, you then went into Webflow. Is that right? And then you built
Yep.
out the game idea. Is that? Can you just have a little? Can we have a little look at Webflow? Because we've got the music page. We've got, and I want to ask you about the music page, by the way. So
Yeah.
okay, we've got this page where all the magic happens, but then in
Yep.
the background we've got the music page, we've got the gamepad page. So if anyone's just joined the live stream, JP has linked this game up to a dance mat, so he's got another page for that. Am I right in saying that, JP?
Yes.
Okay, tell us why you've got different pages for different things. What of these each page is doing? Because I think right now people that might be watching might be like, okay, wait, JP's made this insane game. How did he go from Figma, from idea to actual execution? And I think Webflow might be the missing link.
Okay. So after I got the kind of the main game or the core of the game working, so that's when I can start adding features. So those big features that I want to add, I do it first in a separate page so that I can test it a bit faster and not as cluttered as, so it's focused on that feature alone. So I don't break anything or everything.
Okay, that's key. Okay, good.
So for this dance pad, I have this. Also, I have a page for this JavaScript file. So I have a local page and a separate Slater page. So I can really focus on what to do. And this is the one that I'm gonna link into that page and test it into the live page so that I'm not bogged down in other features. I'm just focused on this one. So if you can
Okay.
see here in the console, so console is really the best friend of JavaScript developers. You can I added a function here in Slater to show me which buttons are pressed. So this one. So if I press the dance mat, it's connected right now.
Whoa,
So
awesome.
I step it. Yeah, I'm stepping on it, so it's not fake. It's
Yeah,
my hand.
yeah, yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so it's a bit easier to figure things out if you working on it separately. Then you can add it once you get working. So it's kind of easier in my mind and in my process.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So what JP is doing, if anyone's looking at this, like, wait, what? So he's testing it on the production link, and then he's using console to basically check the code, see if it's working, and then you can make any changes in Slater that you need to actually correct anything.
Yep. So cool thing I figure out is while searching is the browsers have a gamepad API, so it's kind of normalized in all the browsers, so you can connect it and just call the right thing. So let's find it in the codes. I think I placed it at the very bottom. Oh, yeah, it's here. There. That's what and gamepad connected. So it's called listen for the gamepad connected API. Yeah. So you can see here the gamepad name is this one, Dancepad connected USB standard gamepad.
Yeah.
Then it is the gamepad and it has a list of buttons. This is the one that's very important since I think different controllers have different configurations on which button. So the trick is figuring out which button corresponds to which button on your pad.
But how? Wait, so there's only up. There's only four, right? There's left, right, up, down.
Well, there's actually more than four. So there's like this
Oh,
the middle ones
you're
of the button.
okay. So you
Then
had to work out
yeah,
which button corresponded. Okay,
there's
okay.
also this one.
Ah, the start button. Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So
so
you can
this one I think
pause
it's
game.
13. Yeah, the start button is like 13.
Okay, I understand now.
Yeah, and you have to map it in the code. So let me just find it where it is. Oh, it's here. So the dance pad, it's zero. Up is zero. Then down is one. Then right is two. Left is three.
So you had to
Then
work it
start
out.
is nine. Start is nine actually. Yeah.
Okay. Um, Adhel in the chat says, amazing in Philippines, mamau. Um, what does mamau mean?
It's like monster.
Monster. In a good way, right? In a good
Yeah.
way. Okay. Like a beast. Like,
Yeah.
that. Yeah, okay, awesome. Mamau indeed, Adhel. Okay, awesome, JP. So we've got the buttons worked out and they're aligned. And really important point to so you don't mess up the code. You can make a new Webflow page and then a new Slater file, and then just link those two. You don't need to put the global snippet, which will affect the whole site. You can do that for individual pages. So that's a really, really important thing to say, just in case you want to test stuff just for one page. Awesome.
Yep.
So we've got the up down. We've got the gamepad link. So that's one page. Is there anything else you want to show us on this page, or
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
okay, awesome. The music. How did you link up the music? And I also want to ask you about the database as well, because um, yeah. Okay, let's start with the music. Talk to me about that.
Okay, so the music was linked in, I think, a Firebase. I'll just check quickly. Okay, I don't remember anymore. I'll check back later. The link,
Sure.
the music was linked to a different server. It's a free server. Well, I just asked Slater what server is this.
So you're not using LimeWire or anything. You
Oh
just
no, no. Oh, he doesn't know. Anyway,
Slater. Come on, man. Okay,
anyway,
but you found like a public free library, and then you are streaming that song from that library. Is that right?
yep. Using
Yeah.
the JavaScript library called Howler. Yeah, this one.
Okay.
Howler.js.
So for anyone that doesn't know Howler, what is Howler? Is that any music you can basically implement into your projects using JS?
Yeah, it's kind of like uh, how to make interactions with music in your project. Yeah, but it's not a place to store the sounds. It's the thing that controls the sound however you want.
Okay, so like the function, so on click, this
Yeah.
sound plays or whatever. Okay, so the music is being stored somewhere else, but the actual function of the music being played or whatever audio clip is done by Howler. Good to know.
Yep. So I also did a separate page for this. So this was kind of fast since just clicking a button then playing the music.
Yeah,
So yeah.
awesome. Can I just highlight for anyone that's like, wait, JP, why didn't you just ask Slater for that? If you get the if you want to use JavaScript libraries, so anything you want to do has probably already been done before. So find the library that corresponds with that functionality, right? And then if you go directly to that library, it's probably going to be better than just asking Slater. And the reason for that is because Slater is collecting information from all over, and it might not have the most recent and up to date CDN. So if you want to go and use a JavaScript library, if you're like, I wonder how I create fireworks in my project, you type in, how do I create fireworks with JS? You'll probably find fireworks.js. Then you'll copy the CDN from that library and put it into Slater. So just to highlight that for anyone that's like, how the hell does JP know to use howler.js? I mean, he's quite experienced, so he probably just knows what is all the different libraries out there. Is that right, JP?
Yeah, I kind of made a clonable with Howler.js a long time ago. But
Okay, so you're
yeah,
very knowledgeable. You know a lot of different
yeah. But
libraries.
I didn't ask Slater for the Howler library. It's kind of give. I just asked it for a JavaScript library, and it provided me Howler. Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, you can also just ask, "Hey, Slater, what is the best library to create, fireworks or music embeds or whatever?"
yeah.
Um,
Most of the time, I don't limit or I don't make my prompts very specific, since sometimes Slater can provide more recommendations or better recommendations than I can think of.
yeah, good point. A little bit like if you go to a restaurant and if you ask the waiter, what do they recommend? The waiter knows best. Slater knows best a lot of the time, unless you're allergic to peanuts or something. And then,
Yeah,
anyway, I'm going to stop with this metaphor. Um, so, on the right here, what are we looking at? We've got all the prompts that you've asked.
yeah. So it's very simple. Just click a button, then play the music. Yeah. So it's
Click a
very short.
button, play the music. So, we're using howler.js to actually activate that. So, you've
Yep.
got const menu now, how, and then you've got the song embedded at the top, loop true, and then you've got the source. Source is the same. Yeah, okay. So on click. So the functionality is essentially just on click, play the music.
Yep. So that's
And the,
the prototype. So if I want to do something, I just try to do the most basic step possible to have a prototype.
yeah, great. I'm glad you keep highlighting that because super important point. Even JP is doing very basic stuff to start with and then building on that. Really important.
Yeah, that's going back on the figuring out what to do, then getting it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's doing the little bit, while you're figuring it out, you try something and then you're like, okay, that works. Now I can, fully commit and implement that in the rest of my project, maybe. By the way,
Yep.
we've got Kabaza in the chat. Jarek is loving this stream. He says, "Hi, Kabaza, I'm a fan. You got this." And then he says, "Ha ha 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 ha," which I assume is not in relation to the Kabaza comment. I think he's just saying "ha ha ha" because of something you said, maybe. Okay, great. So Howler is playing that song. How do you get the song to stop after the person has died?
Okay, so that's we're gonna go back to the main code for that.
Okay,
So
awesome.
I have the code handle game over. So if you can just command F or control F, handle game over. Oh, so there's the handle game over music. So I also have different functions for the music, and also post all sounds and resume all sounds for the music toggle. But for now, the handle game over music is this one. So it's gonna get all the songs and stop the songs. And
Okay.
in the handle game over, it's gonna run that function over here. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So we've got a few different things going on with the music. So on click, game starts. When the game is over, we've got the music stopping. Where's
Yeah.
that?
So if the since I have also a function that checks if the block is missed. So if a block is over the screen, it's gonna say, "Oh, the block is missed." Then it's gonna deduct you a health, and if the health is equal or less than zero, it's gonna handle or make it game over.
Okay. And then that automatically stops the music.
Yep, and that's the handle game over is over here, which has the handle game over music.
Okay, awesome. So just to be clear, JP, in the Webflow project, you have embedded the music on a separate page. Is that right? Is that an embed?
Oh no, the music is in a different server. So in the music page, the embed here is the music from the different server. I'm just placing it here to check if I can play the music on the Webflow website. Then after that, I use Web Howler to play the music.
Oh, okay. So this is just a check
Yeah.
if the music even plays. It's not, you're not actually using this actively in the project.
Yep.
Okay, because I was looking at this and I was like, wait, is the music here or is the music somewhere else? And the music, what you're saying is the music is somewhere else.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay, and are you using, so just to say, when the music is somewhere else, is that just streaming from a website? Is that in Dropbox? Is that like, where actually is the music?
Okay. Can you give me 2 minutes? I'll just try to find it.
Sorry, dude. I'm asking you loads of difficult
No,
questions, but
no,
I'm
it's
just
fine.
super
It's my
intrigued.
bad.
I'm just like, how is this all linking up? If anyone else has any questions, by the way, while JP's looking for stuff, feel free to ask them in the chat. I'm sure if anyone has played the project or is looking for the link, it's in the chat as well. arrowhero.webflow.io. And I love doing these streams because I can just be really nosy and just ask loads of questions. But if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. While JP is doing the looking for the music as well, we are gonna do another challenge. So I mean,
I think
after
I
Webflow.
found
Sorry,
it.
you found it. Awesome, awesome.
Yeah. So I was using Cloudflare. This was recommended to me by Neil. Not sure if he's in the chat, but
Let's see
yeah,
if he
it's
says
a
something.
free one.
Okay, awesome. So what's this called? Sorry, Dash Cloudflare. So Cloudflare. Okay.
Yeah.
And so what is that? Do you sign up for this and then you've got access to a load of royalty-free music?
Oh no, it's like a database or a server that where you can host
Oh,
assets.
sorry. Right. Okay.
Yeah, I just ripped this off from YouTube, but yeah, I'm not.
All totally legal, I'm sure. Okay, nice. And do you pay for Cloudflare?
No, this is a free tier, a free account.
Okay, awesome. Good to know. Because I'm trying to build something at the moment and I'm trying to grapple with this stuff. So that's
Yeah,
really
I
helpful.
think this is some bandwidth limitation, but it's not that small. It's very high, I think. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, good. Cloudflare. I'm going to put that in the chat just in case anyone else is as curious as I am how you host stuff. Okay, so we've covered the music. We've covered your build in Webflow. Can we talk about the database? Because what happens when someone wins or someone finishes playing, they get added to a database, and I'm very intrigued how you've done this bit.
Yeah. So this was really a feature that I really want to include in my game, since I think every game that I've played has some sort of leaderboard system. Yeah, you can see in the Figma, I have like multiple pegs that I didn't really do. I just made up for a simple one.
Yeah.
And also very inspired by League of Legends tier system. Also wanted to not just say game over to the players that will play it. I just want to like give them a little message that, oh, you've done great, done good.
Yeah, it's kind of like it also means that people are more likely to play because there's like a competitive edge to it. It's like, well, I want to win. I don't just want to play. I want to beat these people. So then, you carry on, right?
Yeah. For this one, I use Zano or Zano.
Yeah.
So this is a just a free pricing tier. So I didn't really think you need to have a lot of balls before they put some price in it. which I don't think will be reached by Arrow Hero, but who knows? So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? I mean, it's popular. I've just put Zano in the chat as well for anyone that's interested.
Yeah, so this is basically like this ACMS, but external to Webflow,
Yeah.
and you can use this to do different load of things, like databases for different stuff. For this one's very simple. It's just a database for the scores. So the ID is the user or the game ID, and then date this generated automatically. Then you can place the name and the score. Yeah.
Okay, so question about Zano. Did you choose Zano for any particular reason? Because I mean, there's Airtable and all sorts of other different places which you could have done this. I'm just intrigued why you chose Zano, if there was any reason.
I think it's the fastest one out of all that, and it has the free tier, so that's a big plus.
Okay, well, that's a good answer. I mean, there's a free tier, important decision-making metric.
Yes,
But I would also say that Zano is definitely, like, in my head, the strongest platform for data organization. I worked with a guy called Glenn McWhinney on a project, and he swears by it. And after that, I was like, it doesn't look as fun as Airtable and stuff. It's really, really powerful. It's a really, really cool tool.
yeah,
And
definitely. I haven't even scratched what Zano can do here since I'm not really that into databases. But really
yeah,
powerful.
I mean, if you're doing stuff with Wiz as well, I know Bailey Fisher talks a lot about Zano and how, for Google authentication, stuff will come in to, information with signups and stuff. People will come in through Wiz, and then information will be stored in Zano and stuff. So, not that I know nearly enough about Wiz to talk about it confidently, but I've just watched a couple of videos. Anyway, you are storing the leaderboard information in Zano. Then that corresponds with Slater how?
Yeah, so there's two parts in the leaderboard. Is one is getting all the scores, and the second one is adding a score. So the first one is the getting all the scores. That's the easy part, since you're just gonna get all the data from the database. So it's gonna go to the API. What's cool with Zan is has API built in. So I think it's this one and here. So get all the database. So just copy the endpoint link. So if you go to the endpoint link, it's gonna give you the object of the scores. So it's like I think it's a JSON object. Yeah, JSON's not a person.
Okay.
And then it's gonna place it over here, which is the fetch URL. So it's gonna get or fetch the data from there. So what's gonna happen is it's gonna get all the scores, then assign it to different cards. So what's interesting here in the leaderboard page is there's only one card. So what I asked Slater to do is to copy this card and populate it in how many scores there are and populate each element. So we can see here, I placed an attribute here, which is JP leaderboard element item. So that's the card item. And for each one, it has three elements over here, which is the order or the order number, then the name, and the score, which is the score. Since it's easy to do this kind of with Slater, so he has the name, and get the score, and then populate it for each card. Yeah.
Boosh. Okay, wait, let me just say back to you, just so my tiny brain can compute this. So you've got three different elements that you've set up in your Webflow project. You've got the number, you've got the name, you've got the score. You've given them each an attribute
Yep.
so that that can basically correspond with Slater.
Yep.
when someone finishes the game, information goes into Zano. The Zano information is fed back into the Webflow project, and then the attributes named will correspond with Slater so that they populate in the right order. And the order is determined by Zano, whether things are, the highest obviously goes to the top, and you've told Slater that, and the bottom obviously goes to the bottom. Have I roughly got that right, JP?
Yeah, kind of. I did a bit of trick here, since
Okay.
when posting or sending the score, it doesn't really show correctly in the Webflow project. I'm just kind of adding another card with that specific information. So it's not updating the updating the leaderboard again, but it's just adding your score in between the leaderboards. So it's gonna create a card element. So that's this one, and it's gonna
Okay.
sort it afterwards. And what's mainly correct, I just did a trick to make it possible, since this feature that I want to do is when add like maybe 900,000. And if I send it, I want it to do that. I want to highlight the card and scroll to the element. Since if I refresh it
Ah,
again, it's not gonna do that, and I can't add the highlight to that element.
okay. I think I understand. So yeah, so you're saying that it's not actually updating the leaderboard in real time, but for the user, it kind of looks like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not totally accurate, but yeah. Okay, I understand. If Well, I think I understand. I mean, I'm saying I understand, JP, but I understand the very rudimentary elements of what you've done. If anyone has any questions, by the way, guys, feel free to ask away. Wits in the chat now. He says, very smart. Whoa, JP, you're really good at this game. JP is really good at this game. I mean, he practices day and night, don't you, JP?
Yeah, I
Um,
have no choice since I have to test it. But sure, guys, if you guys are interested, I can make this a clonable if you want.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure people would love. I would love to see how, like, we've got an hour and we kind of dig into stuff, but there's so much here that I think is fascinating to look at. And this is kind of a slightly different topic, JP, but because you could make games like 100%. Like, have you thought about this? Are you like, oh my god, this is kind of fun? Like, maybe I should do more of this? Or has using Slater made you think, oh, like I might make games in Webflow, or like has there been anything that's come from this that we might not have spoken about?
Uh, Making games is really fun, but making real games is really hard.
Yeah,
So
I
this
mean,
kind of
totally
like
different.
a mini game. But if you try to make a an indie game of sorts, it's gonna be really hard. I think this game is, I can't really consider it a real game per se, since there's really a ton of work, and I don't want to undervalue those who are making games since yeah.
I mean, fair enough. I just wondered though, like this could be, you could have like a login, and then there could be like multiple different games that you could play. You can invite like colleagues to compete. At Edgar Allen, there's like a little competition on at the moment where it's basically just like a fantasy football league. But I was thinking like the kind of implications of this across like you could make quite simple but really effective games quite quickly. um, so I don't know. I just thought, there's kind of like loads of different ways that this could be chopped up. But
Yeah, but if you want to create games with Buffalo and Slater, it's definitely possible, as we've seen in real competitions.
yeah, I think the next competition we've talked about doing will be a lot less. I mean, obviously, this is really fun and it shows the capability of Slater and Webflow combining. But what we want to do is have something that's a little bit more practical for people that might be working with clients and custom code. So Jeff McAvoy commented yesterday about using external APIs, which is something that obviously you've done a little bit of in this project. Oh, is this a new game? What's this, JP?
Yeah, this was my first idea of a game, but it felt like a gimmick rather than a game. So it's kind of the goal is to scroll in, and what ends up in the middle will be your prize, kind of. So yeah, I trashed this out since this didn't feel like a game. It's more like a gimmick for me. So yeah,
Wait. You've got to find the prize in the middle of this? What do you mean?
I know if you scroll it, I was thinking of making it scroll for 5 seconds. Then it's gonna have a marker in the middle of the screen, and it's then gonna say, "Congrats, you won an extra rice."
Oh, nice. I wouldn't mind an extra rice. I mean, I'd prefer something else actually. What can I get? Wow, there's so many different options here. This is making me hungry. Mango graham fudge sundae. What the hell is that? Mango
Yeah,
graham fudge
it's good.
sundae. Wow. What is this? Is this like a chain in Manila or something? What is this?
Oh, this is my first idea of a game, but kind of trash it out after 3 days since I didn't feel like this gonna win the competition or anything.
Yeah, I mean it's nice, but is this like a fast food chain in in the Philippines, or is it like
Yep.
where is all this food coming from?
So this is Jollibee. It's one of my favorite fast foods in the Philippines.
Okay.
Like, so if ever you're in the Philippines, try Jollibee chicken.
Okay. All right, Jollibee. I will. I mean, I don't have a reason to go to the Philippines, but now I do. Um,
Yeah.
I need to visit Jollibee. Um, Jarek in the chat says Jollibee, so he's a big fan. Okay, so let's get back to Slater just to wrap this live stream up. So we've got loads of important tips here from this session, and I'm gonna try and remember most of them. Yeah, let's start here. First things first, JP's really good at code, but he is also a human. He's also trying to work things out, and he's figuring out what to do is the first step. And there's gonna be a little bit of tension when you first start using Slater, where you're like, I don't really know what I'm trying to make, and I'm trying to work things out. Ask Slater general questions to figure out what you're meant to be doing, right? And then once you've figured out what you're meant to be doing, ask Slater to do the thing that you're trying to get it to do. But you can use it as a kind of a tool to ask things that are more general to get inspiration and ideas and find your path. And then you can also get it to actually execute one of those different options that it gives you. But JP, love this graphic. It's okay to wonder. From figuring out what to do to getting it done, there is going to be a little bit of a tension, a little bit of an unknown period where you're trying to work things out. So just remember that if you're diving into Slater, and you know, starting out, there's going to be a little bit of a period where you're asking questions, figuring things out, and then executing. Slice the pizza. Love this little graphic here. But essentially, if you're trying to do something quite complicated, like make a game, work out what the small elements are before trying to just do the whole game in one. It's really hard to eat a whole pizza in one mouthful, but it's a lot easier if you can just have a slice at a time. I've found even a whole slice at a time is kind of hard, although
Yeah.
I've got a big mouth. So tackle things bit by bit. You know, work out what the little elements are of your game. Thank you so much, JP, for scrolling around as I'm talking. Work out what the little elements are, and then you can
tick them off one by one. And something that JP did that I think is really smart is that he opened a new page in his Webflow project and a new page in his Slater project to kind of test run things as he was working on stuff. So if you do that, it means that it's not going to mess up the rest of your project, right? And you can test stuff. Search Console, let's talk about that. So the big man is using console to basically see whether stuff is working in real time. If stuff's not working, he can obviously go back and change it in Slater. But using the console is a really, really important way of just testing, seeing what's working and what's not working in real time and just really fast. What else did we talk about? We talked about howler.js. So if you want to have game effects, you've got the howler.js library, which you can use to, on click, there'll be a little bit of functionality there or whatever. Super, super powerful library that we learned about today. We learned about Cloudflare. If you're hosting those sounds, then you're going to need some kind of database to play them off. So, using something like Cloudflare, apparently it's got a really good free program. We've got Zano for the database stuff. So, if you're doing slightly more complicated database things where different values need to correspond, using something like Zano, it's got a really good free plan as well. And that's how you're going to be able to do leaderboards in your project. Have I forgotten anything, missed anything, JP? Is there anything that you want to add?
I think that's it. Maybe just a little bit of the scores, since this is what really the main feature that I really want to add. I didn't have this at the first part of the game, but it's like I want to make it so that if you hit the button closer to the pads, it's gonna give you more scores and more health. It's gonna say perfect if you hit perfectly within a fraction of 5%. Next to that is great, then nice, then okay. And next to that is the ranges of the scores. So you can see here which score that you get corresponds to a different message. So first one is up to 200,000, which should be resilient, valiant, courageous, heroic, supreme, legendary, then celestial for those who get 1 million or 11,000 points. And one thing I learned with JavaScript is it has a number called infinity. You can also do negative infinity, which is kind of crazy. Yeah.
How the hell does negative infinity work? That's mental. Okay, well, you learn something new every day. I've learned tons in this session, so thanks so much for teaching me and everyone that's watching along, JP. You're a legend of the game. If anyone wants to try out Slater, there's a free trial. Go to slater.app and go check it out. It is a pretty powerful tool, as you can see. Obviously, it's super powerful if you know as much as JP, but you can also ask Slater for prompts, keep prompting away and you're going to get there, guys. Also, if you're someone like JP who is making stuff with Slater, we want to know whether it's a competition or not. So please, please tag us on Twitter or send us a DM. We are working on a points-based program to ensure that you guys actually get rewarded for making this type of content. So that is inbound. We need to just get past Webflow Conf because there's a lot to do before then. But yes, that is coming. Next competition will be more practical from the point of view of using custom code with client stuff. So stay tuned for that. If anyone's watching along and is like, I want to win a competition, you can. You can, lads and ladettes. If there is nothing else to add, I've used an hour of your time, JP. I hope it wasn't a waste of your life. I think that was well worth it. I loved it. So thank you so much for spending your time with us. And yeah, it's 9 p.m. for you, I believe. So you must be just like, Jack, just shut the hell up and get me off this live stream.
No, it's fine. It's good.
But no, you've been a legend. Thanks so much. Thanks to everyone who's been watching along, and appreciate all the questions today. Really, really awesome. Cheers, everybody, and let's end it there. Bye. JP, we've ended the stream.